Hello and welcome to this lifestyle and entertainment channel. And if this is not your first time tuning onto my channel, I say welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? How's been your week? How's life? I like to ask this question sometimes. I know most of the times I don't always get like answers, but I still like to ask anyway. Okay, so today I wanted to do a quick tip video. So if you're familiar with my channel, you would have seen that I posted a video last week about our Barcelona vlog, and the fact that it was the first time we traveled with the kids on holiday like that. So that was the first time we ever flew with the kids ever. So Toby is 4 years old, but that's the first time he would be on the plane, you know. And whilst we were on holiday in Barcelona, there were a few things that came to my mind that I felt, okay, let me share with anyone that probably is thinking, oh, I'm traveling with my kids for the first time, maybe around the same age, maybe not, and they're thinking, how, you know, what are tips? Tell me, how can I do this? How is this going to be easier for me? I just thought, let me share these tips that helped whilst we were on holiday, or before we traveled and while we traveled, and see if it helps anyone at all. Basically, this video is going to be about that, and also answering some of the questions one of my very dear friends sent to me. So when she watched my video last week, she sent me a list of questions, and she was like, you know what, I'm interested, I want to know this and that and that. So I've asked her if she's all right for me to kind of like use our questions as part of this video. It probably will be some of the questions some other people are thinking in their minds as well, and it will just help to kind of like answer those questions and give more information to this video. And then if you have any further questions as a viewer, then you can just ask me in the comment section, and I'll try my best to answer them as much as I can. Okay, so the first thing that helped me was I researched, you know, this kind of video that I'm doing. There are a lot of people that have done these videos out there. There are a lot of people that have written blogs and just write-ups and all of that about traveling with your kids for the first time and what helps. And also in my circle of friends, you know, we have these mom groups and stuff like that. So that was the first thing I did. I asked questions like, how did you guys do it? Basically researched to see like what is useful and what is not. Okay, this is going to help me, this is the, okay, this doesn't apply to me, okay, maybe this might work, I'll try it out and see. And that's kind of like how I got a few things here and there. And so that's the first thing, pick what's going to be useful for you and drop the rest of it. So yeah, that's number one. So another thing that helped is I had a checklist and I've had that checklist a while before we traveled. As I think of things like, okay, we're traveling, no, this is what we're going to need, I'll write it down on my notepad. Basically, have a checklist of everything you need, whatever it is, however small it is, however, you know, big it is. Just when you think about it, write it down, just so you don't forget, and so it's easier for you to get coordinated when you're gathering all those stuff together, especially if you have more than one kid. If you have one, it's you know, it's a lot, but if you have more than one, then, you know, both of them probably have different needs, and you're kind of like, you don't want to get to where you're going and you realize that, I didn't pack this thing, you know, I should have taken this thing. So everything you think you would need, have a checklist and put it on the list, and then it's easier for you to, you know, take them off the list once you're packing them together in the box. Now, this other thing that helped was I made sure that I packed some of their favorite things, so things that they're familiar with in the house, that are so like toys, more so for my 4-year-old than my 7-month-old or 6-month-old, because my 4-year-old has a lot more things that he holds dear, if I can, you know, use it that way, or things that are his favorite things to play with or favorite things to use, you know. So I made sure that I packed most of those things, so that when we get to that unfamiliar place, it has some of the familiar things that he's used to help him kind of like settle in a little bit. So for instance, you know, things like the teddy, maybe they sleep with a teddy bear, maybe they sleep with a particular blanket, maybe they like a particular toy more than the others, maybe they get engaged when they use this particular toy. You know, in Toby's case, the Bible that he reads before he goes to bed, favorite book that he likes to read before he goes to bed. Yeah, just stuff like that. We have a bedtime routine basically, so everything that we use for that bedtime routine, I had to take them all with me. So it's just stuff like that I'm talking about. And if you already have like a checklist, like I said before, all of these things should be in there, so that you know that you're not forgetting to take them along with you when you go. So the next thing that can help is get a new toy, or like a new maybe art crafts activity, something like that for the flight, because the kids will need something to be engaged with while they're on board, and they get excited by new things. So if it's something that they've not seen before and it's something in the line of what they like to do, so if they like playing with toy cars, for instance, maybe get a new toy car or 2 new toy cars. If they like doing arts and crafts, for instance, maybe get a new like coloring book or like a new coloring pencil, or but you get the gist. Just something new that will be kind of like exciting for them, and usually that kind of takes, pulls their attention in for a reasonable period of time. And then obviously, yeah, it's just one of those things to help on the plane, because depending on how long or short it is, sometimes you just have that long time and you just don't know what to fill it in with. And if if you're looking for something to help them, stay occupied on the plane, then that's definitely one thing I'll recommend. Buy something new that would kind of like excite them. Snacks. Can you hear how many S that I'm putting at the end of the snacks? Depending on what kind of snacks your kid is into, healthy snacks, whatever, just get snacks, plenty, a lot more than they would normally eat. I know that some people are on like a timetable. You can only have this number of snacks per day, or you can only have this number of snacks per time, rigid timetable. But sometimes I feel like sometimes we can be flexible. If you can't be flexible, please get a lot more snacks, because these kids will need snacks. Our flight wasn't even that long, but the number of times that Toby told me, I'm hungry on the flight was like, come on man. And they even gave us food on the plane, but he refused to eat it. So sometimes you have kids that eat things normally and they just refuse, like, no, I'm not going to eat whatever it is they're giving me on this in this place. So what happened? The snacks that we took came in handy, and I was just passing it over to him. Snacks. Sometimes when they say I'm hungry, it's out of boredom. Like, I'm hungry now. I know myself. When Toby tells me I'm hungry, I'm just very, very hungry. I'm like, no, you're not hungry. You're just bored. But when he was just telling me I'm hungry, I was just giving it to him. Take. So yes, please take a lot of snacks in your bag on board. I was a bit lucky with Tony because he was still breastfeeding at the time. So when he would just get a bit cranky, I'll just put him, here, like, oh yeah, take this. Whatever works for you. With the bigger kids, snacks always work, but with the babies, I would say the breastfeeding helped for me. But I have a feeling like they might even just slip through it, because Tony slept through almost he slept through for most of the time anyway. So anyway, yes. And then another thing that helped was entertainment. So I know this is not everybody's cup of tea. Disclaimer, because I know people will come and now start saying kids should not be watching screens, kids should not be, to each his own, right? I understand, no judgment zone here, please. Okay, so if you're into that sort of thing, right, get entertainment. And as with the new toys or new like activity, crafts, whatever it is that I mentioned earlier, you can also download like new episodes of some of their favorite shows, or just like new things that you think your child would be interested in, things that are right and nice for them to watch. So for instance, at some point, Toby would, if he sees something new that he hasn't seen before, for the first like 1 or 2 episodes, it grabs his attention, like he wants to know what's this all about, and so he's like, okay, I'm watching, and he doesn't want to be distracted. And then after the first 2-3 episodes, and he feels like, oh, this is not really my thing, then he's like, I'm not watching it again. But at least for that first 1 or 2 episodes, that's a chunk of time that's kept him kind of like occupied and glued to something without disturbing anybody else, if you get what I mean. So if you have kids like that, then a new show will be nice. But generally, just get entertainment, even if it's on your phone, if it's on a tablet, if it's on whatever kids things they have these days. I don't think it's it to be too much to offer your child that for that period of time. I don't know. But it helped us, maybe to help somebody else. So, and then another thing that helped us was we bought business class. So for the flights that we took, it wasn't a long flight, so it wasn't too much of a like breaking the bank situation for us to get that. It wasn't like a recline your seats back, you know, put your feet up business class. No, it was one of those ones that just gives you extra leg room and an extra seat. So for instance, the 4 of us traveled, right? The business class we had allowed for there to be an extra seat, which then helped to kind of like just put all our stuff to just be free, to give us the space and the room we needed to be able to maneuver both kids. That's basically what that helped us with. And so if you're able to afford it, you know, you can just take that extra bit of pay that extra bit of money to afford that comfort and that space and that, yeah, you get what I mean. So that one also helped. Okay, so those were the points that I noted down at the time in Barcelona, that okay, these were the things that kind of helped and made the trip a lot less stressful for us. Generally on the flight, right, it wasn't even that bad. Toby was really excited. That was his first time flying, so he was excited. So he spent the first few minutes looking outside the plane, excited about the plane taking off, you know, talking about it because he likes vehicles, and we've been watching all these aeroplanes and all of that stuff on TV. And for him to be inside it and just kind of like experience it was a new, you know, a new experience. I know I said experience before. It was a new experience for him, so he was taken away by all of that in the first place. So if you have kids that are like that, then it might be that, you know, you spend the first few minutes of the flight just kind of like soaking all of that in, and they don't even need any entertainment, they don't need any food, they don't need nothing. They're just excited that they are taking that flight. And then after that excitement comes down, you can then now think of, you know, what can I pick up from my pot or my bag that is going to help with keeping this guy calm and cool. So yeah, apart from that, I think it was when we were descending that he then started crying because of his ears. So he had the ear thing, you know, that air cabin pressure or whatever ear thing that happens on the plane. So that wasn't a very nice experience, but that didn't last too long. And I've since kind of like seen online that, you know, there are things that you can kind of do to help make sure that that doesn't happen, or that is not as painful for the kids as, you know, as it should be. So yeah, so next time when we're flying is something kind of like to look out for, to say, okay, well, because he feels that pain when we fly, then we need to buy something that would kind of help him relieve the pain a little bit. When we were coming back, I just kept asking him to drink water. Toby, can you drink a sip of water? He didn't really like it, but I would just keep nudging him and keep giving him the water. And I realized that our flight back, descending back when we're coming back to London, was a lot smoother and a lot better than the one when we were descending in Barcelona. So maybe that will help. Water, you know, if it's juice, I don't know, you know, but Toby kept drinking water and that helped him a little bit. So what else do I want to say? What else? Getting to Barcelona, we got a hotel that was really child friendly, and we booked the hotel in a place where it was kind of opposite a shopping mall, and they had all these kids things, like they had like an arcade, they had like a kids playing area in front of the shopping center, which was, you know, which was good. Our Barcelona trip was just 2 days, so we got in on Friday and we spent Saturday and Sunday cruising or whatnot, and then we left on Monday. So it wasn't too long, and we didn't really need to look for a lot of activities like that. So, but between the children's playing thing and just us going out to places kids friendly, I think that kind of filled the activity side of what to do in Barcelona. So now I'm not going to answer the questions that my friend has asked me, and hopefully it can shed more light on any other questions you might ask about how it was, you know, how our traveling went. So the first thing she said is, how did you decide on what to pack? You packed very lightly. Okay, from my video you might have seen that I said pack my bags with me. I only showed you a few of the things that I packed. That wasn't all the things that I packed. I packed a lot. So I had a big box that contained the kids clothes and every other thing for myself and them. Yeah. And then I had a small box which is this box that you can see that I used for also all of Toby's things were in there. And because, like I said, it was only a 2-day trip, he didn't need too many clothes. So first of all, I didn't pack like as lightly as you think I did. Secondly, like I said before, I had a list of what to pack, and then I just thought, how many days are we staying? What would they need for those days? What's the weather like? Okay, so is it hot? Is it cold? For the time we went, it wasn't freezing cold, but it was a bit chilly. So I thought, okay, we're going to need to layer up. Let's take a few jackets. So if it's, you know, hot, we can take off the jackets, and if it's cold, we can put the jackets on. So basically just layering up. What else? Yeah, I just thought, where are we going? What's the weather going to be like over there? How many days are we staying? And what are the kids going to need? So things like blankets, like teddies, like books, like toys, all those kind of things. Like, is it worth taking all the toys? Not all the toys, like how many toys can we afford? You know, how many, those kind of things. Food, snacks, what would they eat? It's all those things that kind of helps me to decide what to pack or what not to pack. And we had a separate bag for snacks, we had a separate bag for food, for Tony's food, and we had a separate bag for like clothes and shoes and stuff like that. Yeah, so basically that's what, I don't know if I've answered the questions, but that's basically what helps me decide on what to pack. And then she said, Toby's hand luggage is so cute, where did you get it from? So that hand luggage is called Trunki, and we got it from Argos. Like, one of the highlights of the trip for us is this Trunki. I didn't say it because I knew that I was still going to talk about it separately. This Trunki box is like a lifesaver. It's like a, like, as in, it's like a, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's one of the best things that you would ever buy, you can ever buy if you are going traveling for your toddler. It's, I say it again, it is one of the best things you would ever buy if you're going traveling on a holiday with your toddler. It just helped. It was the ease of just dragging him on it along with the, you know, at the airport. So instead of saying, Toby, walk fast, Toby, let me carry you, Toby, you know, we just put him on the trunk and we just dragged him along. If we wanted to go slow, he was slow. If we wanted to go fast, we're just dragging him along, and he wasn't slowing us down at all. And then the other thing is, it was also a toy for him. He was just playing with it, dragging himself on it. Like, seriously, if you don't already have a Trunki, and I think Trunki should come and pay me for this video. If you don't already have a Trunki and you have a toddler and you travel a lot, buy one. Okay, buy one. It really helped, really helped. And it had quite a lot of space, you know, reasonable amount of space. Like I said, I packed all of Toby's things in there, and that was it. That was all you needed for the holiday. Even if, you know, it's not as big as to put all your kids' clothes in there, you can actually just put snacks. So if you want to pack snacks for the flight, you can just put it in there and hold it as a hand luggage, and just, you know, anyway, you get the picture. It is very useful, very helpful. It came in really handy. So yes, I would, it is 100% for me to buy it. Tony's pre-cooked food, how did you prepare it and what happened to it when you got to Barcelona? So normally I do a lot of pre-cooked food for Tony in the house, and I just cook it and I just freeze them, and I bring out the pots one by one when I want to use them. So when we're going on this holiday, I was thinking, like, how am I going to do this, you know? And then I just had an idea. I was like, okay, oh, what if I get like a baby food warmer and I actually make the pre-cooked food, and I get a freezer bag to put it in just for the journey. I just thought about it. I was like, okay, what if I do this? Is it gonna work? And I was like, okay, well, let's try it. So that's what I did. I made the food. I made 2 different types of food. At the time, Tony was eating was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So his breakfast is normally almost always cereal. You know, 50% of the time is cereal. So I said to myself, Tony is going to eat cereal for the 2 or 3 mornings that we're going to be there, and then for the afternoon and the evening food, I would then do pre-cooked food. So I calculated how much food I needed to cook, and I just cooked and I packed them into tiny little pots. So I froze it right before leaving, and on the morning of the day we traveled, I just put them into that freezer bag and I put some ice packs on it. And that's basically what I did. It wouldn't stay frozen like it's in the freezer, but it was still 90% frozen when we got to Barcelona. And I basically just transferred them from the freezer into the fridge at Barcelona, and the ice packs were still frozen, so I just put the ice packs in there. Now, we stayed in a hotel, so they didn't have a freezer compartment, they only had a fridge compartment. But because of how food was already frozen, was still frozen, and because of the ice packs that I already had, that kind of like worked for the 2 days that we needed to be there. But I would advise that if you're going for a longer holiday and you want to do pre-cooked food, then you'd probably consider staying in an Airbnb rather than a hotel, because Airbnbs will have freezers, and then you can just rest assured that the food would last and it's properly, you know, preserved. So that's just a little tip there. But for us, it was just like 2, 3, you know, 2.5 days or whatnot, and that lasted for as long as we needed to use it. So when I would need to feed Tony, I'll just bring one out and use the baby warmer to warm it and then just give it to him. So all the list, the details of the materials, that so the bag, the food warmer, the containers that I got and everything, because I had to check that the containers that I got for the food would fit into the food warmer. You get what I mean? So before you go and buy a container that you'll not be able to put in the food warmer, but the containers and the warmer and everything that I use, I'll just put them down in the comment section below. And then if you have any questions again about that, then just let me know. What kind of activities were the kids able to do on holiday? So basically, like I explained before, we had like this shopping mall in front of the hotel that we stayed. So there was that kids play area there in front of it, and then in the actual shopping mall there was a, what's it called, like an arcade where they had soft play areas in there, and then just general kids games and stuff in there. So we used those places, right? And then we also went to there was an aquarium. We also went to the aquarium, and then there was a theme park there as well, with like all sorts of different, if Toby had his way, we would have stayed there for the entire day. It was like we spent a reasonable number of hours there, and we just wore him out, and then we just went home. So between all those things, there was kind of like a lot of activities for the kids to do. But seriously, if we had looked further, I'm sure would have found a lot more things for the kids to do. It's just that was always within our power at the time, because it's a lot going on holiday with kids, and just, you know. So I think, yeah, it was a bit, yeah. Anyway, that was what was within our power at the time. You guys, I have recorded like to the end of this video, and then I stood up and I realized that it wasn't recording. It had stopped recording at some point. So pardon me if, you know, it feels like I'm not coordinated, but I was answering the questions, what activities were we able to do with the kids, and after, you know, all of that, anyway, basically, you know, I didn't even know how to join this video again. But in any case, those were the activities that we're able to do, like the aquarium, the theme park, the play place in front of the hotel, and just like the arcade place in the shopping mall in front of the hotel as well. And within all of those things, it kind of like wore all of us out, and it was just a really quiet, relaxing holiday like that for us. But I'm sure that if you search, you'll be able to find more kids-inspired activities that you can do with your kids. Okay, wow, I said a lot more things in the other video, but I can't even remember now. Anyway, moving on to the last question. So finally, a little 10 tips for traveling with kids. So I think I've already put some tips in the beginning of this video. I've already said some tips, right? Okay, so I don't have any other 10 tips, but you know, apart from all the things that I've said, I think the only other thing that I would say is that maybe just kind of like prepare your mind, okay? Like, just know that you're traveling with kids, especially if this is your first time you're traveling with kids and you're already used to traveling before without kids. Like, it's not the same. For me, anyway, for us, it wasn't really the same. So I would say my only advice or tip would be like, just don't be worked up if you're not able to do all the activities that you planned on doing. Don't be worked up if plans change, because plans are always going to change with kids involved. Yeah, and just like kind of like prepare your mind that these things can happen, and so when it happens, you're just like, okay, let's just get on with it. Let's just, you know, let's just go on with it. That's it. So basically, that's the only kind of thing that I would say that I haven't said. Maybe just prepare your mind that it's going to be different with kids, right? And then just flow with the flow, move with the flow, whatever. You get what I mean? Yeah. If there are any other questions that I haven't answered on this video, you know, and you feel like I might have an answer to it, you can just ask me the question in the comment section below. And if there are a lot of questions, then maybe I'll do another video. If there are not a lot of questions, I will just answer you guys as much as I can in the comment section right there. Okay, if there are any like products that I mentioned, I'll put them in the comment section. Anything else, I can't think of anything else right now. But I hope you have enjoyed watching. I hope this has been useful to you somehow. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, be cool, enjoy. I say enjoy, Jesus Christ, enjoy yourself. Have fun, go traveling, go with the kids, don't worry, nothing will happen, you know. I'm talking too much. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.